Welcome back to Market It with Atma, where we give you the tips, tools, and strategies to help your business be successful. I'm your host, Story, and today we have on the show CEO of Brodie Consulting, Mr. Paul Brodie. Welcome, Paul.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And thanks for coming on the show. So I would love to learn more about your journey and how you came to be the CEO of Brodie and what led you there. Okay.
Yeah, so what happened was back in 2015, I started with my own books. Became an author, figured out how to publish, market the books, and had a series of bestsellers, one after the other. And what happened was people started to reach out to me and ask if I could help them in their journey. And it started as a coaching practice initially, then we evolved into done-for-you services. But what happened was I was teaching my kids during the day, and at night I was coaching my clients. So in other words, I was doing 80 to 200-hour weeks for a couple years straight.
Exhausting.
Yeah. But finally, in June of 2017, I took the leap of faith, left my teaching career after 9 years, and focused on this full time, and then almost went out of business because I was absolutely hooked on doing this coaching model. And what happened is all the reserves I had set up, everything taken care of. But what happened was people that I was working with and people who weren't able to work with me said very clearly, we love your program, but we don't want to learn how to do this. We want to pay you a premium to do this as a done-for-you service. Okay. So finally, and the funny thing is I actually make good decisions in Vegas. It's a weird deal. So I had my first epiphany about doing this journey back in 2015 on a flight to Vegas. I actually wrote the outline for my first book at the Mirage by the pool, and then that later became my first book. And here we go into 2018. We're having some struggles, and we had to realize, okay, are we going to survive? And the answer was no. If I had to make a decision, and that's either was I be stubborn and keep listening to doing this coaching model, or I do what everyone keeps telling me, and that's create done-for-you. And so what happened was we created a done-for-you publishing service, a done-for-you book launch marketing service, and the first month that we fully implemented that, we did significant revenue.
Wow.
Made more in a month than we did the rest of that year, the early part of that year with the coaching model. And then we went all into that. So in 2019, we had our first six-figure year. 2020, multiple six figures, 21, 22, 23, 24. When we've done record revenue every single year, and it was because I listened to other people stating, okay, you have a great service here, but we need something that's going to be easier for us as business owners, and that is going to be having a done-for-you service. So that's we created a done-for-you publishing service, a done-for-you book launch marketing service, and that is how we've evolved. But what happened was initially I wanted to create something for me where it could be a publishing imprint where I would be comfortable, where I'd have full rights to my book, I would have the royalties and all, no contract. We have no formal contract except for several terms and conditions.
Right.
Of course, from a business, you have to protect yourself, so no refunds. You protect you have your royalties paid to you directly. You know, we do choose the categories, things like that. But it's just a few things just to make very clear in expectations. And that there's a lot of freedom with it. Our clients have full creative control. I had a client send me an email in a route here going, I want to do this size for my book. I said, no problem. You know, we typically do 5x8. You want to do 6x9. It's your book. So whatever you're comfortable doing, we're completely fine with. And just giving them the freedom to be able to do it the right way and the way that they want.
That's amazing. So you're not only helping them to write a book, you're also consulting them, private consulting services.
Yep.
Wow. And so can you tell me probably one of your biggest success stories that you've had?
Well, we had 173 of them so far. So 173 consecutive bestsellers, 42 of which were done in 2024. But it's really just helping take people to the next level. One of our clients, and probably our first quote-unquote political client, was Sheriff Mark Lamb out in Arizona. Wow. And we've done 4 books, two for him, 2 for his lovely wife, Janelle. And they already had the audience. They just wanted to take it to the next level. And that's when we first did American Sheriff with Mark, where we took it to that next level for him and got him the reach that he wanted, and then leveraged that with his audience. And he took it to the next level. He actually ran for Senate last year.
Wow,
so,
that's amazing.
Yeah, books are a leverage point. They're basically they're a business card on steroids because no one ever is going to throw out a book. You know, Atma, you guys do a lot of events, a lot of networking opportunities, but we all know what happens to most business cards. I've been a networker for many years. We know what happens. And what happens is they end up going to other places, usually the trash.
That's right.
But books, no. When you can give someone an autographed paperback copy of your book and go, here's my information, you can get to know us a little bit more. Whenever you're ready, it's autographed for you. My number's on there. Whenever you're ready, feel free to reach out. I was told many years ago from a business mentor of mine, he says, I'm not a businessman, I'm a farmer. And I go, a farmer? He goes, yes, all I do is plant seeds. Some grow, some don't. And he was a great mentor when I was starting out. And that advice that he gave really did make a difference, because that's all you're doing every day. You're basically planting seeds. A great example today, an hour and a half ago, I was meeting with the UTA entrepreneurship department and talking about some ways that we can collaborate and help each other out. Yeah. Then I went to our networking group at the chamber for about 10, 15 minutes, just a very quick appearance, said hi, shook hands, kissed babies, went to grab lunch, and then I made it here just in time for our interview today.
You did.
It's just maximizing that, but also planting those seeds. Wherever we go, we're planting seeds, planting opportunity, and just mentioning, hey, we're here. Whenever you're available, let us know. It's like when I came in today, prior to our interview, I gave you a copy of the Arlington Today magazine, where I have the privilege to be the cover on this month, and just to share a little more information about what we do and how we serve. And
congratulations on that, by the way.
Well, and thank you. And the thing is, it's not a pitch fest in there. It just shows how we give back to the community, how we support, who we are, and how we serve. And I think that's the biggest thing people need to realize in business. It's not about a pitch. It's not about an offer. It's not about you promoting or doing your 30-second little speech. It's about genuinely connecting with other people. And when people get to know, like, and trust you and build those relationships, then everything else takes care of itself.
Absolutely.
And we've seen that, and you can do it in a way where it's not salesy, it's not pitchy. People can really see who you are, because when they get to know, like, and trust you, that takes down the barriers. That's what a book does. It takes down the barriers. The article in Arlington Today, the cover story they did on me, that brings down the barriers where you get to know us a little bit more. And whether we're going to work together or not, you guys get to at least get to see what we do, how we serve, and see our core values, both as a Rotarian, as a person of faith, and as someone who really does believe in our local community, but also helps clients in over 20 countries across the world.
Which is a wonderful thing. The fact that you serve, I want to elaborate on. You really kind of walk through what we call the customer journey and the customer value funnel. And it seems like you do it with so much integrity and authenticity that's why I think each person that's quote unquote in sales or even consulting is successful. The people that are successful genuinely care. Right, wouldn't you say? So can you tell us a little bit more about your serving? You mentioned Rotary Club and how you incorporate the two together.
Yeah, you hear a lot of the time, a lot of the bigger companies talk about corporate responsibility. And a lot of that it's marketing. With us, with being a smaller business, it's not, because it's who we are, it's how we serve. There is a phrase that I live by. It's a Latin phrase called veritas et utilitas. It translates into truth and service, also into truth and helpfulness, and it's a giving back. And when people can see what you're really about, it does make the difference. And from a business perspective, it does help you close deals. I have an email audience list of over 10,000 that we send a weekly email to. Sometimes it's more when we have other things going on, different offers. But I've had people reach out and go, I want to work with you because you're Rotarian. You're Rotarian of the Year for your club. We know what that means. We know you're a person of integrity, because your club would not have honored you that way if you weren't. With reaching out with UTA alumni, we've been in the Mavs 100 the last 2 years, most likely our third consecutive year coming up, where they basically honored the top 100 UTA-led businesses based on business growth.
Wow.
And it's just those ways to give back and to build those relationships. So my core is always going to be UTA, our chamber, our Rotary Club, and also River Legacy, where I have the privilege to be a board member with them now for almost 5 years.
Wow.
And just having those opportunities to give back. In fact, our Rotary Club has a big event there tonight where we're going to help some families that need a little bit of extra support. And our Rotary Club not only made a donation, but my business matched that donation.
Wow.
Just because we want the event to be successful. We want it to have that opportunity to grow, because it's a pilot program. And anytime that we can go in there and help different initiatives. I mean, last month was Christmas, of course, in December.
Yes.
We have a lot of fun with that. We take part in a lot of toy drives, a lot of philanthropy. But something that was unique was a good friend of mine, her daughter did a cocoa stand. And the cocoa stand, all the proceeds went towards Arlington Life Shelter.
Wow.
And I went there one evening and said, hey, what do you guys think if I helped support this a little bit? And they go, well, what are you thinking? I said, why don't I do a match, $250? Because I think the biggest they've done in a year when they've done these is like $500. But it's a great amount. But it's like, let me put in a little bit more and see what we can do. Anyway, with that, getting the word out and then putting on social media, they did over 1,000. They crushed the record. And all
That's
it
amazing.
was just giving a little rocket boost and just being a support. And I love this initiative. This sweet kid has been doing this ever since she was a little kid, and just doing this to give back to the Arlington Life Shelter. So anything that we can do to support our local community, we're all in with, because Arlington's been great to us over the years, and we want that opportunity to give back because we love our city.
So by being at all of these events, you're unconsciously or consciously creating that awareness for who you are, but you're also building the trust because you continually show up and stick with your values and your mission, it seems like. Actually, I think we met at a donation drive, the Margarita Ball.
Yep.
And the enthusiasm on your face, I could just tell you were so proud to be there, to be a part of it. And that, I think, builds the trust with your clientele. I know it definitely engaged all of us to want to learn more about you. And that's something I think each business owner needs to consider having. If you don't love what you do, would you say that it causes your success to really stay engaged the way you do?
It makes a difference. And you mentioned Margarita Ball. So we've been a VIP sponsor there on an annual basis now for several years. We'll continue to. Margarita Ball is an opportunity where people get to have this nice event. You get to dress up, have some fun. But you come and you donate a toy, a nice toy, and all those kids get those toys. And I got to go to the Santa Cops event that was a couple weeks after that, and got to witness them bringing all these families in and just seeing their faces. That to me, it was like Christmas. You know, to me,
wonderful.
it's not about receiving. It really is about giving. And to be able to take part in that event, it was amazing because it felt like Christmas. And an hour later, I met with a couple of members of my Rotary Club, and we donated 24 bikes to Mission Arlington for their Bikes to Mission Arlington drive. We did like half of the amount last year. We doubled it this year, and it's for our own philanthropy. I just like to increase our philanthropy every single year. But yeah, Margarita Ball, that's when we first met.
It is.
And of course, Brian and Ruben, big part of Batman, Nouveau Desk. They were always my guests with that. Brian's lovely wife, Andrea, and the rest of our friends. I mean, those guys like brothers to me. So every year we have this crew of around 7-8 people, and we just always have a great time. We go, we play blackjack for a few hours, we have fun. I think I gave you most of my remaining chips, if I'm not mistaken.
You did. You did. And man, my husband walked away saying, what was his name? I need to make sure we stay in contact with him. And it was just a wonderful experience, because you're right. Everyone just had such great energy, and it's a great way to bring all of the people in Arlington together that truly care about serving and working with others. So would you say, I want to touch back on your mentorship. Now that you've had some success, are you still seeking mentorship from others? Do you think that's a valuable thing to have as a business owner?
Yeah. In fact, in the Arlington Today article, I mentioned specifically that there's been 3 mentors that have helped me over the last few years. Of course, my primary mentor, but my, people like Paul Folks, he helped me when I first started out. He's the one that mentioned about planting the seeds. He was awesome, and it still is to this day, but he really helped me in particular starting out. Michael Jacobson at the Chamber is the CEO. He doesn't even realize the impact that he's had on me with giving back. And when he gave me the opportunity to serve on the Chamber Board of Directors a few years back, I was eternally grateful for that, for an opportunity to be able to give back. And then my big sister, Becky Jarrow, who River Legacy, who she kind of wrote me into joining there a few years back. But, she's family. I mean, she is my big sis, and Paul's like my big bro as well. But these are the people that have supported Arlington for decades. And if people even knew half the stuff that Becky does behind the scenes, they would be blown away, because she's like, I call her like the Queen of Arlington, because she does so much good stuff, and it's all for the right reasons. Yeah. And then, of course, I always have to mention my mom, of course. Without her, I would never have been involved this much with philanthropy, because I've seen how she's given back. She was a single mom struggling to raise me. So anytime I hear of anything, the single mom struggling to help kids, I'm like, what can we do? Right. And a prime example was another event that we supported through Nehemiah Industries at Pope Elementary. It's an after-school program. Our Rotary Club supported that, and we gave them a little donation. And Sandra, our contact, was like, what do I do with this? I'm like, throw a Christmas party. I love that. And I was like, and tell us when it is. We're going to make it out there. And we went to the event, and I reached out to Isaac. I'm like, hey, does anyone need anything? Are these kids okay? And it's like, no, they're good. But he said, but there's a family. There's a young family. There's 2 kids there, and they don't think they're going to have anything for Christmas. I go, well, let me guess. They like Marvel? Yeah. They like Nerf stuff. They like air hockey, that type of thing. Okay, I'll be back in 30 minutes. And he goes, what are you up to? And I'm like, I'll be back. So I went to Five Below. They did this Five Beyond section where they got some pretty nice gifts, $25, $30 each, and basically loaded the cart, made sure I got something from the mom and the dad too, came back, and I said, right, stuff's in the car. And I don't say this as any type of a brag or anything. I state it because there was an opportunity where we could give back and be of service. Right. And that's what we did. And he was just blown away. So we just loaded up, and that entire family had Christmas. And if I get the opportunity to do that, because when my mom raised me, when we went to having this fancy neighborhood interlocking to literally not having anything for a long time, Christmas passed us by sometimes. And any chance that I can get to make sure that a family has a Christmas is a no-brainer. Wow. And that, to me, is what having the opportunity to give back and having real corporate responsibility and having real community involvement where it's just not a tagline. It's not a gimmick.
Right.
It's who we are at the heart, and people can see through that. People can see if you're just doing something for your own promotional things.
Glitz or glamour.
Yeah, but when they see who you really are and the fact that you live it and you do it consistently. When I was talking to the guy at UTA today, I talked about micro-investing.
Right.
Well, I'm micro-investing in our community, supporting these smaller projects. Some of which are going to grow, some are going to thrive, some will be sustained, but they're there. And any opportunity I get to be able to do these micro investments, as I call them, these micro opportunities, why wouldn't we? Because we can make something even better and support initiatives and really help take them to the next level.
I'm thankful you're a part of Arlington. I've heard so much about you even prior to meeting you, which says a lot about who you are, because people don't refer and talk about other people unless they're truly valued in the community. So thank you for doing all of those things and just being a part of those things. Because you're right. Sometimes just your presence can help people engage more in these events that can help each other, right?
And that's the biggest thing I've noticed. And I was really surprised by that because I really didn't think we'd be able to have that level of impact. But like with the cocoa stand, when they've done over 1,000, and all we did was write a check and just like, hey, feel free to tag us if you want to mention that we're supporting it, great. And then some other friends of mine from Bowie High School, because April and I went to Bowie together. Oh, wow. And then Candace, one of our other friends from Bowie, she got involved with it, and some other friends, and we just kind of built this little network, and they were able to really take things to the next level. And I'm already thinking, hey, if that thing next year, let's double it. Let's do more, because the philosophy is we can always do more. And I was just trying to do one more thing, but we typically end up doing double from the previous year, just because one thing turns into the other. I call it the snowball effect.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. But the nice thing is it spreads. Generosity spreads, giving back spreads. And when people see you doing that, they're like, okay, I can do more. I can help people.
That's right.
And that's why I didn't even want to really share the story about helping that family, because, again, it wasn't intended for a brag.
Absolutely.
It was just intended the fact that if there's an opportunity there, and if you're able to, if the community's being good to you, business is being good to you, take that opportunity and give back. Because if you give a family a Christmas, or you can support a cause like we're doing tonight with River Legacy, those are the things that make the difference. It's those micro investments and supporting your community in any which way that you're able to.
It's kind of the philosophy I've always held strongly to is whatever you put into the world is what you get back. And the more you put into the world, the more others can give and then give back, right?
And times that by 10.
Absolutely.
Because that is exactly what happens. It's not for any intention of marketing or branding or anything. It's just for a philosophy of giving back.
Right.
But do opportunities come out of that? Absolutely. And I wish more businesses would realize that. It's not about taking, it's about giving. And that's why I feel that so few businesses are ever successful in year one and then in year two. And now we're approaching the decade in this journey where we're thriving every single year. And I do feel a big part of that is because it is our philosophy to give back, to be a service, to be supportive, because it really does take down the barriers and gets to build relationships with people.
Absolutely.
When I'm sending emails to my list, it's a weekly newsletter style. And we talk about different things in life. I talk about Rotary, talk about family, talk about even this sciatica injury I've been dealing with for the last month, which I told which way to kind of delay
we had to
initial.
reschedule everything, but it's a big deal, and it's important for people to understand what you go through because other people are going through the same thing, other business owners. And how do you navigate that?
And the answer is the obstacle is the way. So another thing I do is I study Stoicism.
Okay.
And it really comes down to a couple of main values on that. But one of them, and it's my favorite author, Ryan Holiday, one of his books is The Obstacle is the Way. So you have to look at that. So on Christmas Eve, what happened was I had a terrible flare-up of sciatica, could barely move my leg. It was almost as bad as when I tore my rotator cuffs. When you get older, things happen. It's just life. But I just kept thinking to myself, the obstacle is the way. The obstacle is the way. We will figure this out. And through a very good pain-killing shot from our Rotary Club president, who's also my doctor, and also using a lot of ice. This morning, I was using the ice, 7 packs of ice for 30 minutes. I do it twice a day, but that's kept everything at bay. And it's really just focused on, okay, this is the obstacle. Now, what is the way around it? Right. And we talk about in Stoicism about the 4 virtues, where we have it's courage, it's temperance, it is justice, and wisdom. Those are the 4 core principles of Stoicism. And I have these coins that I've got in my bathroom upstairs, and I'm always making a point to go look at those coins every day just to remind me of those principles, because those are the things that keep me balanced and realize, okay, this is a life of service. This is a life of giving back. And when we do have obstacles, how do we find our way around this? And that's why I keep saying the obstacle is the way.
So staying grounded in those 4 principles really helps you each and every day kind of stay on the right trajectory.
And there's another one, ego is the enemy. And so that's also a good reminder where you just kind of have to, you always kind of got to check your ego at the door, which is not always easy. You know, I will freely admit I have an ego. I have a lot of pride in what we do, but we want to do that for good reasons and not let our egos get the best of us. And that's why I love studying Stoicism so much. In fact, this is actually the first time I've really talked about it outside of my emails, because that is what keeps me centered, keeps the balance.
Right.
And of course, I even have my own coin, which I think I gave you one at Margarita Ball, where we kind of have our own little challenge coin / Stoic coin with our philosophy. When I talked about veritas et utilitas, that is on the back of my coin. And it's just a reminder of what we do, our core, and how we're a service.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful to know that your processes and your values have really helped you through your journey and being successful. Because if you stick with those, then how could you go wrong? And being able to maneuver when you need to make changes, would you say is a huge part of your journey?
Oh, yeah.
And being open to that, I find that hard. So
you have to listen to the voices. That's the biggest thing. When you keep hearing the same thing over and over, like I kept hearing, go do a done-for-you service. Do it done. I mean, I must have heard this message story at least 100 times. And I finally listened and leaned in. And that's the other advice I would like to give, is when you keep getting the same piece of advice over and over and over, then that is the big difference. That is the message where if you keep hearing it over and over, there's a reason for that. Lean in, take that leap of faith, and don't be afraid to do it. Right. Because if you keep hearing the same voice over and over, there's a reason for that. It's leading you in a direction. Embrace it. Don't fight it.
What would you share with other business owners that you think is very valuable? And that's a great one right there, because there is such a thing as being fearful of success. So leaning into it, I think, is a great mention, because it's hard to sometimes.
The number one success secret I have is this, and it's not sexy, it's not fancy. There's no such thing as an overnight success. It is consistency. It is just being consistent every day. Another phrase I live by: every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. And just being consistent, put in the workout every single day, focusing on getting a couple things done. If you get 1 or 2 things done in a day, you've had a good day.
Right.
You know, no to-do list will ever be completed. You just move that thing over to the next day. You focus on that. But it's really about being consistent. That's why, as I mentioned to you earlier, I do 4 virtual summits a year on book publishing and on list building and on marketing. And the reason I bring that up is because we do it every year. We're always building our list. We're always engaging. We're always building relationships. Where I'm the host, kind of like you're the host of your show.
Absolutely.
Where people get to know, like, and trust you. And you're the one asking the questions. So yes, you're featuring many people across the world, but you're being featured as well because you're asking the questions. You're a part of that, and that is the part of daily consistency. It's like fantasy football. So me, Brian, and Rumi play in the same fantasy football league, and we're always looking for running backs that get the most touches, get the most opportunities to the ball. When it comes to wide receivers, the most targets, the most opportunities to get to catch the ball. It's the same thing here. It's just that consistency every single day, putting in the work, and that's what makes all the difference. Now, I know it's not the greatest tagline, it's not the fanciest thing, because people want to be overnight successes. It doesn't happen. It takes a lifetime to be an overnight success, and it is that daily consistency, one day over the other one. And another thing I'll mention is in March of this year, my workout streak hits 5 years in a row.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yep. During the pandemic, 15 minutes a day, nothing fancy. But, I mean, I've done this when I've torn my rotator cuff, where I've literally taken my arm and put it in this position with this locked in, and I exercised. Two bouts of COVID. Didn't matter. I exercised every day. Severe viral infection. Didn't matter. Exercised every day. When I had sciatica a few weeks back, still exercised every day. It hurt, but I did it. Plantar fasciitis, same thing. I didn't make excuse, and it is extreme, and I will say I will die before losing my streak. I do an annual family vacation every year where we go to Galveston now every year, and I found out a few days before they didn't have a workout facility. So what did I do? I bought one of those under-desk ellipticals, for the one little cyclist one, took that on the trip, and just use that every day. And now any type of extra trips, I just take that with me. So there's no excuse that happens no matter what. But again, what is that? It's consistency. Yeah, I can mention, it's almost 5 years in a row. That's great. But it just started with one day doing 15 minutes, then another day doing 15 minutes, then another day, then another day. And it's just putting all those days together. That is what builds the consistency. That is what builds the momentum. And again, we talked about that snowball effect earlier. That's what this builds into now, a 5-year snowball of daily consistent exercise. And I don't do it for anything except for my own mental health. But obviously, it's been a big change. I went from 300 plus pounds now to 255 pounds.
Wow.
Those things helped. Of course, it was mainly diet. But those things make a difference just in that daily consistency with the exercise and just being consistent every day.
Yeah. Consistency turns into routine.
And
after
that's
a
what
while.
it is.
And that's what's important is I think once you stop thinking about having to do it and you do it without thinking each and every day, that's when you're starting to grow. That's when in any area of life, that consistency that leads to routine is proof of growth to me, would you say?
And this week alone, so it's an email I do every single year using mid-January. It's my list because I wait till mid-January for this. And it's very simple. It is subject habits versus resolutions. And my first sentence is resolutions don't work. Habits do.
That's right.
Resolutions are typically broke by mid-January, and there we are mid-January doing this recording. That is typically what happens. It is habits, and this workout, it's a habit. Working every day, being consistent, habit. And it's just about building one habit after the other, because then it becomes a part of your life, it's part of your routine, and you don't miss it. So when you have COVID, when you have torn rotator cuffs or sciatica, or these things are going to get in the way. Again, the obstacle is the way, right?
Yeah.
It's then taking that and just getting on with it, embracing the grind. One of my favorite quotes is from the great philosopher Mr. T from Rocky III. You go, what's your prediction? My prediction? Pain. And that's just what it is. It's going to be painful at times. It's not going to be easy.
That's right.
But life isn't easy. And that's where we talk about how the obstacle is the way. Ego can be the enemy. And just focusing on those 4 virtues, that is what makes all the difference in your day, is just having that consistency. And that's why I have that stuff in my bathroom up there where I can just go by and just look at those coins. And I read those probably 2 to 3 times a day just to have those daily reminders of the things to always focus on, and in particular, those 4 virtues.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful thing to remember, because I mean, you want to be consistent in everything, but to remember how it can completely change who you are is important, because that's growing you in the end of the day, right? For all of our listeners out there who maybe want to contact you, learn more about you, or how maybe you can help them, how could they reach you? Are you on social media? Are you on?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is I always recommend go to my hub, which is my website, BrodieConsultingGroup.com. Then grab a free copy of my Get Published book. They can check out our podcast. We've got, I think, just under 700 episodes on there, so quite a few shows. But they can also see a really quick explainer video. It's like literally 1 minute. They can see what we do and how we serve. There's also an opportunity to set up a call with me in there. Our services, they are done for you. They're an investment. They're not for everyone. So always invite people. If they want to make the investment, feel free to. And if not, just take advantage of the free resources like the podcast and the book. And then you can also read over 45 client testimonials on there as well.
Wow.
And of course, quick plug to Atma. They do my website. So Atia and Brian and Ruben and you guys, you always do an amazing job on the site. I give you guys all the credit. You guys do all the work. But y'all are always adding information in there when I request it. And you guys always do a fabulous job. So yeah, BrodieConsultingGroup.com. That is my hub. They can check out everything on our page. And they can actually read on the media page, the Arlington Today section that Atia very kindly added last week. Did an amazing job on it. And you can actually check out the article there, digital version.
Absolutely. Well, we love partnering with you. We look forward to continuing our partnership with you. So hopefully maybe mid-year we can have you back on the show to give us an update on all the success you've had and the help you've given.
It would be an honor.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for coming back to Market It with Atma. We will see you again next time.